These are all of Tom Aspinall's professional MMA career finishes.
Good combinations.
Oh, big shot! And it's all over! Tom Aspinall!
Combination by Tom. But the right hand right sits it down! Aspinall! Blades nearly down and out early! And it's it! It's over! Tom Aspinall retains the throne!
With 8 wins in the UFC, all of them by finish, and only 18 minutes in total spent inside the octagon in 18 pro fights, Tom Aspinall has torn through every single opponent put in front of him, and today, we're going to take a look back at every single time Aspinall put his opponents away. Tom Aspinall kicked off his professional MMA journey in December 2014 at a small local show in his hometown of Manchester, England, where he gave fans an early glimpse of the incredible talent he had in store. As soon as the fight started, Tom's opponent Michael Pijek went for a really sloppy takedown and it backfired badly. Aspinall sprawled, quickly flipped the position and ended up in side control. From there, Aspinall dropped a series of nasty elbows until Pijek tapped out. The fight was over in just under 30 seconds. Aspinall's second fight against Ricky King was just as impressive, even though it went on a little longer. As soon as referee Mark Goddard signaled for the action to begin, Tom charged forward, throwing a wild flurry of punches that only narrowly missed their mark.
And as you said, neither of these men used to go in the distance, and it was Aspinall that threw a big left and right.
The constant pressure immediately pushed King into a clinch, with his back pressed against the cage within seconds. King showed some skill of his own as he smartly used Aspinall's forward drive against him and pulled off a huge slam.
Clinch is also fantastic for sounding out, and that's that King suddenly spins his man.
But it didn't take Aspinall long to swing things back in his favour.
But he spins underneath for heel hook. That looks tight, Calbon.
With his quick instincts, Aspinall latched onto a brutal heel hook that forced King to tap almost instantly.
Danger, he's trying to punch his way out of there. There's
He's
the
back.
tap.
You were right, Nick.
Unbelievable.
After picking up a win and a loss, Aspinall stepped in against Adrian Rusgac, who came out guns blazing, only to be slammed to the mat.
With a flying knee of sorts, I think.
Rusgac managed to scramble back to his feet, but Aspinall refused to give him any breathing room.
Back up. Aspinall looking to go straight to the back, and he's on a standing head and arm here.
The non-stop wrestling pressure quickly drained Rusgac's gas tank, leaving him frozen in place like a sitting duck.
FCC history previously, Rusgac just jumping at him.
And Aspinall did what he does best and quickly hunted Rusgac down.
This is gonna be it. The referee takes a close look, and it's all over.
Aspinall went through a rough moment right after when he picked up his second career loss, this time by disqualification due to illegal 12-6 elbows. But on his return just a month later, Aspinall came up against Kamil Bazalak, where he already showed growth. Unlike some of his earlier bouts, Aspinall fought with real maturity and patience, making full use of his reach and firing off crisp 1-2 combinations.
It's built to withstand the punishment that these two are intending to dish out.
His speed and perfect distance control were just too much for the shorter Bazalak to deal with.
It's on the ground. Nice jab there, stung Bazalak.
Running out of ideas, Kamil started winging wild looping shots and diving recklessly for takedowns.
Aspinall maybe seeing this as a good chance to test his stand-up against the big man.
That was all Aspinall needed as he perfectly timed a sharp 1-2 straight down the middle that dropped Bazalak face first onto the canvas.
Good combinations.
Oh, big shot! And he's out! And it's all over!
Aspinall then swarmed with ground and pound, and that was all the referee needed to see. From the summer of 2016 up until early 2019, Aspinall actually stepped away from professional MMA to focus on sharpening his boxing skills. But in February 2019, Aspinall was ready to get back into the cage, making his Cage Warriors debut against Sofiane Boukashou. Just over a minute into the fight, Boukashou threw a leg kick that Aspinall checked cleanly, and the impact instantly broke Boukashou's leg. The win officially went on Aspinall's record, but you could see the disappointment on his face. That's not the way he wanted to earn a victory, yet he handled the moment with real class, showing the same professionalism and grace that will come to define him in the years ahead. In his second Cage Warriors fight, Aspinall fought Michael Ben-Hamuda, and it was nothing short of flawless. Aspinall wasted no time getting to work, opening with heavy leg kicks and a few sharp punches to test Ben-Hamuda's chin right away. Aspinall kept his composure and continued piling on the punishment, mixing in punishing leg kicks with heavy hands. Just over the 50-second mark in the first round, Aspinall landed a thunderous right hand that crashed straight through Ben-Hamuda's defense. Aspinall swarmed immediately, raining down ground and pound until the referee had seen enough. The dominant finish didn't just earn him another win, it also caught the attention of UFC President Dana White, who signed the promising British heavyweight in October 2019. Aspinall's UFC debut didn't come easy though. Thanks to COVID delays, it took nearly 9 months before he finally got the chance to step inside the octagon. But that moment finally arrived in July 2020 at UFC Fight Island 3 in Abu Dhabi, where he was matched up against Jake Collier. The fight started off fairly measured, with Aspinall testing Collier early on with sharp 1-2 combinations, but Tom's speed, precision and slick movement quickly took over. Barely 40 seconds in, Aspinall released his signature 1-2 down the pipe, and Collier was out cold before he even hits the canvas.
A lot of the time was not only finding straight. Oh! What a finish!
That's it!
Wow!
Knockout for Tom Aspinall in his debut!
It was the dream debut every fighter hopes for, but it ended so quickly that Aspinall didn't really get the chance to showcase the full arsenal of skills he had in his back pocket. 4 months after making a statement in his UFC debut against Jake Collier, Aspinall returned against Alan Baudo at UFC Fight Island 5, and this time he showed more of what he could do. The opening seconds of the fight were fairly cautious, with both heavyweights keeping their distance. But around the 1 minute mark, Aspinall changed the tone completely by blasting a hard kick straight into Baudo's kneecap, and the damage was immediately obvious. Sensing his chance, Aspinall ambushed Baudo with heavy punches, dragged him to the mat, and quickly secured full mount. From there, Aspinall rained down a relentless barrage of elbows and punches until the referee had no choice but to step in and stop the brutality.
Back pocket to be able to get the fight to the ground and look for control.
How impressive to see him. Got a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. There he is.
In his next trip to the octagon, Aspinall was thrown into the deepest waters of his career so far, facing former UFC heavyweights champion Andrei Arlovski in February 2021. Early in the first round, Aspinall rocked Arlovski and came charging forward with a barrage of thunderous punches, but Arlovski used his experience to soak up the damage. In the second round, Aspinall showed just how well-rounded his game had become. Switching gears, he took Arlovski to the canvas with a slick takedown, and in an instant he slipped around to the veteran's back and locked in a tight rear naked choke. Arlovski had no escape and was forced to tap, giving Aspinall the biggest win of his career at that time.
Hold on a minute. I'm used to what is happening. And there it is, look at that, it's over.
It goes right under the chin, a tap quickly for Arlovski, Tom Aspinall.
In less than a year, Aspinall had already climbed his way into the conversation among the world's top heavyweights, and he kept proving himself one fight at a time. In September 2021, Aspinall took on another serious challenge in the form of Sergey Spivak. The opening minute and a half saw the two heavyweights circling and exchanging from a distance, with Aspinall mixing in feints and stiff jabs that steadily pushed Spivak onto the back foot. By the second minute, the pressure kicked up another notch as Aspinall fired off a flurry of combinations that forced Spivak to dive in desperately for a takedown. But Tom saw it coming, stuffed the attempt with ease, and transitioned into a clinch. He then broke free and unleashed a savage elbow that sent Spivak stumbling to the canvas. Aspinall wasted no time in following up with a couple of extra shots before the referee jumped in to call it. It was another statement win for Tom and another step towards the top of the heavyweight mountain.
So he's got very fast hands.
Still all the rage! Wow! What a moment for the budding heavyweight contender!
Wow.
As Aspinall continued his climb up the heavyweight ladder, the challenges naturally got bigger, and his next challenge was the towering Alexander Volkov. To make things even more special, the fight was the very first UFC headliner at the iconic O2 Arena in London, with a packed home crowd cheering for their hometown hero. The stakes couldn't have been higher. When the fight got underway, Aspinall wasted no time showing off his hands, landing a slick combination while Volkov answered back with chopping leg kicks. Volkov tried to fire back, but Aspinall quickly ducked under and scored a clean takedown, immediately punishing him with heavy ground and pound shots. Volkov eventually worked his way back to the feet, but Aspinall wasn't about to let him breathe. Back on the feet, Tom slipped a Volkov punch with sharp head movement and quickly closed the distance for another takedown. This time around, he transitioned smoothly into an armbar and forced a tap towards the end of round 1.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable head movement by Aspinall. Straight arm lock attempt here from Aspinall. Gets down! He's done it! What a moment for Tom Aspinall!
With his win over Alexander Volkov, Aspinall earned a potential title eliminator against Curtis Blaydes in London, but instead of the career-defining moment he had trained for, disaster struck as seconds into the fight, Aspinall suffered a devastating knee injury that ended the fight. It took Aspinall a full year to heal, but when he finally returned in the summer of 2023, it was once again in front of a roaring London crowd against Marcin Tybura. On fight night, Tybura charged forward, throwing wild punches and often overextending himself without landing much. Meanwhile, Aspinall looked a class above as he used his speed, clean technique and sharp combinations to break Tybura down within the opening minute. In the second minute, Aspinall landed a brutal elbow that put Tybura on shaky legs, then followed up with precise punches until the referee stepped in to put an end to the punishment. It was a statement comeback, proving Aspinall was back and more dangerous than ever.
Legs right there.
Oh, nice elbow. Big change! It's a fairy tale return to Tom Aspinall.
With that dominant win over Tybura, Aspinall firmly reinserted himself into the heavyweight title picture. Still, all eyes were on the upcoming heavyweight title clash between Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic at UFC 295, and Aspinall had to wait patiently to see how things played out. But just weeks before the blockbuster showdown, Jon Jones was forced to pull out due to a torn pectoral muscle. The UFC wasted no time in calling on Aspinall to step in against knockout artist Sergey Pavlovich for the interim heavyweight championship. Tom accepted the fight in a heartbeat, and what followed would send shockwaves through the entire MMA world. On fight night, Pavlovich came charging with a heavy combination that seemed to momentarily rattle Aspinall, but Aspinall shook it off and countered with a blistering right hand that rocked Pavlovich. Smelling blood, Tom unleashed a few more precise strikes to seal the deal in just over a minute.
Leg kick will pay dividends.
The win earned Aspinall the right to unify the heavyweight title with champion Jon Jones, but since Jones wanted nobody but Stipe Miocic, Aspinall was forced to defend his interim title against Curtis Blaydes at UFC 304. Since Curtis Blaydes already held a win over him by injury TKO, Aspinall viewed him as his toughest challenge in the division, at least until the two finally met inside the cage. On fight night, Tom wasted no time proving that he was the best in the world. In just a minute into the first round, Aspinall cracked Blaydes with a perfectly timed right hand that sent him crashing to the canvas. Aspinall immediately swarmed with follow-up shots, forcing the referee to step in and call it.
Combination by Blaydes, but the right hand sits him down. Aspinall, Blaydes nearly down and out early, and it's it. It's over. Tom Aspinall retains the throne.
A year after defending his interim title, Aspinall was officially promoted to the undisputed heavyweights champion when Jon Jones vacated the belt. Now, all eyes are on his first title defense, which comes against Cyril Gane at UFC 321. The big question is, will Aspinall add yet another spectacular finish to his already stacked highlight reel? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed watching all of Tom Aspinall's finishes, subscribe to the channel and you'll definitely want to check out every time Khabib Nurmagomedov put his opponents away.